Hey everybody, Omega Alden plays Civilization 6 Gathering Storm continues with our Omnitor of Nubia playthrough, where we are working on our scientific victory. We're getting 2 light years per turn. We need 48 more light years to be completed. We're working on terrestrial laser stations. We're working on Lagrange Laser Stations. We're trying to finish this thing off once and for all. And, speaking of finishing it off once and for all, we need to figure out what we'd like to do next. So if you have any ideas for that, please let me know. I feel like, people have been tossing me less ideas these days, and I would really like you guys to pitch in and come up with, any sort of special thing you'd like to see, I'm very interested in what you guys are talking about. Somebody on Twitter talked about potentially doing something where I played like 2 civs at the same time, and I'm very, I'm interested in the sound of that, and I don't know how it would work. If anybody has any ideas on how that might work, drop it in there, because I don't know. I've not done really custom setups in the game at all, so I don't know what all the possibilities are. But if there's something out there that you guys think would be entertaining, I'd like to hear it. So please drop your comments in there, or hit me up on Twitter, whatever you are most comfortable with.
I would say invisibility.
I think I'm just Omega Alden. I don't usually tell people what my Twitter is. I think I'm just Omega Alden at Twitter. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I don't post very much on there, so. But if you ever feel like messaging me, send it on over there. I might not respond immediately because I don't check it super frequently. I try to check it these days like once a day. I'm not a powered Twitter user is the thing. I'm sure some of you are on there pretty frequently, but not me. I haven't picked it up. I'm trying to pick it up more, and I'm trying to participate more because I do think. Well, first of all, I'd like to talk to you guys more often, just in general. And I feel like Twitter can be helpful in that. Obviously, I drop you lines on here. I try to respond to all your comments that you drop in the videos. Or at least, acknowledge that I saw them. Whether I come up with an individual response or not is usually just based on the context. But I like talking to you guys, so hit me up on Twitter if you're on there regularly. Like I said, I think it's at Omega Alden, but I might be wrong. Which is a great way to plug your Twitter, right? It's just perfect. You tell them the wrong thing on there. If you find an Omega Alden and he's followed like Firaxis and whatnot, then you're probably in the right place. Alright, so this person is good at counter spying. This is our spaceport defender. Well, what's going on in Omega Alden's life right now? So we talked about a desk recently, and I think no one responded about that in particular, which is fine. It's kind of a personal problem. But I think what I really want more than a desk is just like a large sized table that could be used as a desk. And I'm sitting there and I'm, today I'm like, should I find one of those Amish stores and see if I can get them to like custom make me something? Because that'd be cool, right? You get your own bespoke furniture. How cool is that? I think that's one thing where if you're younger, you don't care. If you're if you put a couple years on, you're like, hey, bespoke furniture, something made specifically for me. This is amazing. But maybe I'm just being an old man right now. I'm not. To be fair, I'm not actually that old. I feel like sometimes I make myself seem older than I am. We built our terrestrial laser station, so we're working on bumping this thing forward. Protecting the campus. Okay, renew the mission. Click the renew button. We'll just keep those people going. But oh, on the topic of dude, we have 7,000 gold right now. Is there anything we could be buying in our capital to help our lives out? I mean, I guess we could buy a sewer. Not really super useful for us, but it does. We are at the population cap right now, the housing cap. So I'm just buying stuff for the capital because we have the capital to do such a thing. You know what? I want archaeology. All right. Is that a crime? Give me an archaeologist now. First up, broadcast center. Now archaeologist. We have to move our unit out of the way. It's fair. That's a fair requirement. So back on the topic of the desk. One of the things that really made me want to look for a new desk is just my space situation. This is a very small desk, at least for what I have. I have a mic, I have 2 monitors, I have a mixer, I have my modem and stuff like that, my router. And so it's kind of, it's kind of filled with stuff. There's a little bit of space for a beverage. But overall, it's well utilized, I think. And so what I wanted from a desk was just more space. And instead of straight up buying a desk this week, because I couldn't find one that I thought was appropriate. But what I did do, and I'll get it supposedly on Friday, I think, is I ordered today's Wednesday, by the way, so for reference, 2 days from now. What I did order was a monitor stand for dual monitors. So I got the 2 monitors. They've got a pretty wide base here. If I connect it at the one point and I have the things there, maybe that provides me with a little more real estate. That's my hope. I still think I need a new desk at some point. And like I said, I'd love anybody's feedback if you purchased anything like custom or like a larger size setup. I would love to hear what you did, where you got it. It's at least very pertinent to my interests at the present moment. So if you got a story about that, you'd let me know, either in the comments or on the Twitter, as I mentioned previously. I'd love to hear it, because I'm still trying to figure that whole thing out. And my friend's like, hey, go to this Amish place and then see if they'll, if they either have something or will make something for you. And I'm like, dude, that's an incredible idea. So I think there's one nearby. I'm gonna have to go check it out maybe this weekend and see what's up. Dude, I feel like I'm fighting off hiccups right now. I don't get hiccups very often. And it feels distinctly like they're coming on right now, and I'm just trying to not let that be the case, because hiccups are basically one of the worst things, I feel like. That's like a probably non-lethal. You might be able to die from the hiccups depending on what's going on with you. In general, I assume they're non-lethal. But you never know. You might be having some dire reaction to something that your body's responding with hiccups. So it might be like a deadly thing in certain circumstances. But at least from my experience, it's just an annoyance, It's an uncontrolled reaction that just makes you do stupid things. That's my experience with the hiccups. Your life story may have told you something different. That's fair. But I feel like I'm on the verge right now of having the hiccups, and that's, to me, not a great feeling. You may or may not agree. I won't judge you either way. I'm just telling you my experiences that I would prefer to avoid them. Can hiccups be a sign of something bad? I'm sure they can. Like, that seems like one of the things where I'm like, somebody probably has died from the hiccups. Maybe not directly from the hiccups, but maybe what the hiccups were caused by or something like that. I don't know. It seems like they could be potentially, not themselves lethal probably, but they could be a sign of something much worse. But I really don't know. I'm not... Just spoiler alert, not a medical professional in any manner. You know, I've never had to take any serious tests about anatomy and physiology. I didn't even have an anatomy and physiology class in school. They offered it, but I did not take it. So that I think that should clarify a thing or two about what I've just said. So I'm gonna build another spaceport. It seems fun. Let's go for it. What is up with our traders, by the way? Did we have too many traders, not enough trade routes. It's a situation you don't want to find yourself in this day and age, I gotta say. But yeah, that's you know, my life right now, just mainly working and trying to figure out this desk situation. Once I get kind of fixated on one thing like this, I find it hard to kind of let go of it. So I'm probably going to resolve the desk situation before sooner or later. Either that or I'm going to end up buying a new car. Totally unrelated, but that's the thing that I feel like that looking at the desk is staving off right now, is the fact that I'm not pleased with my current automobile situation. The terrestrial laser station.
A scientific leadership.
Yes!
Give me Scott.
I'm sorry for that.
For
guys,
swift and efficient travel.
The Amundsen Scott Research. I did mean to cheer, actually. I'm gonna take. I rescind my apology. Amundsen Scott Research Station is worth the cheering.
This, though, best.
All right, you know what we need to do now is make sure to purchase the rest of these snow tiles that we need. So this is tundra, this is snow, this is snow. So we need to buy 3 snow tiles. And then now we get the full bonus for the Amundsen Scott. And you know what? We need to defend our Amundsen Scott appropriately. We're going to send out a helicopter to do so. Mark Twain is here teaching us about what he thinks about Huckleberry Finn. What was I talking about a second ago? I spoke about the desk situation. I feel like I broached a new subject and then I left it. Now I can't even think of it. So if I do recall what it is, obviously, you know, bring it back into the forefront here. But right now I think it's lost to the annals of history.
Jim said that beeswax.
Huckleberry Finn is here. Okay, we need you guys to be ready. Everybody just go to sleep. You know, we have plenty to choose from over here. Oh, but yeah, I went on. I started talking about. You know, if I don't deal with the desk situation, then maybe I'll end up with a new car. I've had my car for. I got it. It's an 07. I picked up an 07. I got it in 07. It was new when I picked it up, so now it's, you know, it's a 12-year-old car, and it has its issues. You know, I'm in Texas. Air conditioning is very important. That's been flaky recently. not as important, but my CD player stopped working as of recently. And I don't, so my car was old enough and not, it wasn't like ritzy enough when I got it that it didn't have like any sort of Bluetooth or anything that a lot of modern cars have. You know, that's not a fancy feature or anything like that. It just doesn't have it. We're in a golden age. We need to make our dedication for the atomic era. I think we're just going to make campuses provide production. So, with I guess onto that subject again, because of the fact that the CD player has died. I mean, I do have it hooked up to an old iPod I have. And I could probably get something to hook up my my Android phone to it instead. But with the AC on the fritz, with it being 12 years old, with the CD player being busted, I'm like, I'm a man who deserves to get a more modern vehicle. But at the same time, I'm a bit, you know, I wouldn't call myself frugal necessarily, but when it comes to automobile purchases, I always want something high-end, but at the same time, I know that's a terrible investment. It's not an investment, basically. It's a terrible use of capital, essentially. Some of you, I don't know, how, like, depends on your age group, whatever. It depends on your financial situation. But the thing is, if you buy a new car, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but basically, if you buy a new car, within a year, that car is worth like half of what you paid for it.
He had discovered a great law.
So it's not a fiscally sound decision to go spend $50,000 on a car, or $30,000 even. Like you basically buy whatever is appropriate for you at any given time. But the bottom line is that the more you spend, the more you're basically burning up. That's just the fact of the matter. I mean, there are exceptions. When you get into the prices where, who do we have here? We have Franz. He creates a battleship. What do you create? Less war wariness. When you get into like some of the extremely expensive and rare things, then it's a different situation in that, you know, you might be able to sell that thing off for more than it's worth later, but that is the extremely rare case as far as automobiles go. So, like, in general, you're better off. If you want my recommendation, this is the boring recommendation. You get a used car that does not have that's not a company that has a lot of maintenance or whatever. You want something tried and true. Something with lots of parts available. You want like your Toyotas, Are Hondas still good these? I don't even know. Subaru's probably a pretty good choice, especially if you live up in the north, or in some sort of snowy location where the all-wheel drive is, even more important. Those are like your frugal financial decisions, I think. We're dropping him in here. All right, you need to move in, sir. Actually, let me swap these two. It won't let me swap them. You monster. But what I gotta say right now is buying a BMW is not a financially reasonable decision usually, probably. High maintenance costs, high costs, a lot of depreciated value immediately. If you're looking for a reasonable thing, It's not the answer. If it is the answer, I'm surprised. You have like some sort of interesting circumstance that I'm not aware of. But yeah, I feel like it's just not the answer, but you know. They're nice cars. You know, my boss had a BMW. Nice car. But it's very expensive for what it is the thing. And that's not to say you shouldn't do that. But I'm saying if you're trying to save as much money as you can, which I think you should be. Here's frugal Alden coming in. No, this is just me being responsible right now. If you're trying to save some money, right? If you're trying to work towards having a retirement of some kind, you probably shouldn't be dropping cash money on those things unless you happen to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever. Even if you do that, like, you look at a man like Warren Buffett. That guy's living in like a $200,000 house or something like that. He's made hundreds of millions or billions of dollars throughout his throughout his life. You don't need. I'm not saying you need to live like that. I'm just saying that that man has the I don't know how you would. I would say wherewithal. He has the presence of mind and whatever to not spend more than he needs to. And maybe he spends a little less than he needs to. That's also a thing. You know, that you have your misers out there, you have your people who are just straight up cheap. I don't know if he would fit in there, but he's smart with his money is what I was trying to get at. You need to be smart with your money. I'm trying to be smart with my money. But at the same time, I want a BMW. Is that too much to ask for? I think
there is nothing like it.
I'm just trying to lay it out there that's the crossroads I'm at right now, is where I'm like, I should get a new car. And then I'm like, I want to get a nice fancy car. Are you? Oh, we launched this already, so we need to build a new one. You gotta queue these things up. How are we looking on our journey? We're about halfway there, 24 of 50. We're heading in. We're on a good trajectory. You know, we're doing a gravity boost off of the planet. Everything's feeling great right now. The people aboard are in some sort of like cryogenic stasis. They're ready and willing to get things going on another planet, which is huge. It's a big event in humanity, and we're counting on them because we've destroyed this world with coal plants. Beautiful, clean coal has ruined this world. And so we need a new place to properly ruin. I don't know if I made any sort of point previously talking about vehicles. All I want to say is that at some point I'm going to need to get a new car. And in my mind, the car I want to get is too expensive for what a car is. And so your boy, he struggles. Your boy being me in this case. He struggles with that very situation. He realizes, he being me once again, I realize that, especially for how I live my life, a fancy car is a waste of money. I drive very infrequently. I put maybe a dozen miles on my car a day on average. I don't need to be driving a luxury vehicle. That doesn't change my heart desiring a luxury vehicle. But I know it's probably not the right choice. And you may not be dealing with, you may have never dealt with this. You may not be dealing with anything similar. I feel like you probably, at some point, maybe you've dealt with something similar in your life. You have a different life story than I do. But at the same time, a lot of experiences kind of resonate with each other. So you have your own thing going on. But this is just my thing. It's like, I want this thing. I know it's not. I know it's not really what I should do, but at the same time, I'm like, if I do want to get a new car, I want to treat myself, even though I know that's a stupid decision. And that's, my mind is just trapped in an infinite loop based around that movie. Wait, are we not powered? Oh, wait, we need more power for all our laser stations and stuff. We need to potentially burn down some of these things and put more power down. Let me you can't put power here. Let me buy more tiles and see about putting power down. Can you put power here? You can't put power here either. I guess you can't put it on the floodplain. We've gone over this. I don't think this is news to many of you. And to be fair, so to put perspective on this whole car thing has probably been like an ongoing battle in my mind for like half a decade. So basically I'm winning the fight against an overpriced purchase. And I have been for some time. But the longer it goes, the more I feel like I'm probably going to lose the fight. What are you doing here? 400 signs for each tile of jungle. Is this the best tile for that in the median area? I think it might be. So we're just going to drop here. It doesn't really matter. We're getting way too much science anyway. But yeah, that's just the dilemma that I'm going through right now. And it's a dilemma that I've been going through off and on for the past, like I said, maybe half a decade. I'm like, I should buy this fancy car. And I'm like, I'd be a fool to buy that car. There's no reason for me to do that. And usually, thankfully, the lazy option is to not do anything, and that prevails. In this case, that's a good thing, right? Oftentimes, you don't really want laziness to be the thing that guides you. But when it comes to spending a lot of money, I feel like laziness can be a great ally. It can be extremely powerful for you. Where's the person with 5 charges? You gotta stay here, sir. So some of you may have gone through that. Some of you may not. I don't know. I don't know how common it is. For me, it's a battle I've been facing
Even
for
though
some
the
time.
future
I'm like an alcoholic. I have to avoid the temptation, the sip. But it calls to me. I don't actually know what that's like. But I do fight with the vehicle purchase over and over again. You know, the vehicle I wanted for some time, and it hasn't. This just goes back to that I've been looking at stuff for a long time. I really, really loved the old BMW M6. And obviously that's a ridiculous vehicle. But I preferred it like, this would have been like Maybe 2009 was like the model. I'm trying to think. It's not like the most recent M6 is not the one I'm talking about. This would have been like maybe a model before, or maybe 2 models before at this point. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. That was a beautiful car. That was the car that my boss's boss had back then. He had an M6. He would drive that. He didn't work directly in the same office as me, but he would drive down like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I'd always be like, "Oh man, the boss is here. There's this amazing car that I want." But I talked to him later, and he's like, I went to lunch with him a couple years back, and he's like, "Yeah, I got rid of it. You know, I had to take it in for maintenance one time, and they're like, you know, this thing's gonna be like $6,000, and I'm like, I just can't keep doing that. It's too much to keep going, and that's entirely fair. That's a ton of money to spend on a fix for your car. So that's the conundrum I live in, is that I should get a new car at some point, except I always want something that's extravagant, and then I know that thing is just, it's not right for me, essentially. It doesn't make sense, but at the same time, my mind is convinced that that's the way. But luckily, I have a functioning vehicle, and a Lagrange Laser Station, and I've stolen the War and Peace. So we're living the good life right now. We're living a very good life. How many turns? 38 of 50. You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna move him there. I'm gonna hit the old shift escape. We're gonna try to get this thing going a little faster to end it around the 30-minute mark, which we've already kind of
Even though the
bypassed.
future seems better, this malefact.
All right, you have 4 charges, you have 5 charges. Let's move you over. Skip the turn once again. But yeah, so like, it actually, so almost...
Much as our
I just
ancestors did ages ago, we thrust
want-
forward
as this
into
goes
the
on,
unknown.
this thing we've seen before a couple
The
times.
first pioneers set forth on an uneasy
You know, I
course.
almost bought a fancy car I liked back in the day, and I convinced myself to not do it just because... I don't know, just the thought of paying for it is, and it immediately depreciating it. It counters my desire to have the fancy thing. That's probably good, isn't it? I imagine that's probably a decent thing, because otherwise I'd be just buying things left and right. So we're ranked at Hammurabi, 2445. The first duty of government is to protect the powerless from the powerful. Protecting the powerless from the powerful. That's a very righteous thing to say, Hammurabi, and I agree completely. You have to protect the powerless from the powerful. A very true statement. What are we going on? We got buildings constructed. Almanitor, she made a few buildings. She did some stuff. Cities captured. We have something in the 40 range for cities captured. We conquered a lot of the world. It was a good time. What are we? Cities founded. We made ourselves something like 19, 20 cities. That's actually pretty good. More than I think I normally make in a game on average. Cities lost. Luckily, we did not lose any. Districts constructed. Dude, we crushed it out there. When your competition is making 36 and you're making like 120, you know you're living the good life. Great people earned. It was Gorgo. Gorgo was out there crushing it for great people, but, you know, great people don't win you the game. You know what gets you the game? Districts, cities, production. You know, great people can help too. So she did good work. Number of combats. Oh. That's a lot of... This may be one of the most combats we've had in... I would say this is definitely the most we've ever had in a scientific game, but even this is pushing it for a domination victory for us. Number of combats, something like 1,200. This may be like 1,100, actually. I don't know. Still, it's a lot for a victory. Player culture. We were doing all right, but look at Gorgo. Look at what she was doing. This is what we were fighting for so long to try to keep up with. She was doing incredible work. She was the most cultured woman I've ever seen. Player error score. We were kind of neck and neck with her for a while, and then we took off. Player faith. Chandra Gupta. Until he was gone, he was doing some very faithful things there. Player gold. This was just a little mess here. Everybody's spending it as soon as they get it, but then we just started spiking out of control. Our science was incredible, starting at like turn 100. You see us take off. Nobody could keep up. Player score. Our breakaway turn was somewhere around 140. That was when we... I guess that was when we took out Tamar, maybe? Georgia? What do we want? We're on player score. Total governor titles we're not interested in. Total governors. Total religions founded. Units killed. We killed a decent amount. Somewhere maybe like 180. Not bad. Units lost. We lost the least in the game, but we still lost, you know, on the order of 10. Which seems like a lot. I don't like losing that many units. I know we lost some to disasters. I don't like losing that many is basically the gist of it. War declarations received. Dude, everybody hated India. They were declaring war against them constantly. Wars declared. What is this? 4 wars? We declared 4 wars throughout the game. Wonders constructed. Genghis Khan with 14-ish. Maybe that's 15. I can't tell. They don't give you like a solid line across. You know what you could do is maybe put the same hash marks on the right side. Give you another frame of reference. You ever think about that for Axis? Sid, what do you think about that? I don't care. Don't waste time on this screen. If you're going to waste time on this screen, give me a cool, like, infograph of everything that happened. You know, more than this timeline thing. Give me, like, a cool turn-by-turn analysis of what's going on in the world. More than that other screen. If that's where you're going to spend your time. But that was a good Nubian victory there. We made great use of the archers. They held our army together, let us conquer most of the world. It was a good time. I don't have any strong opinions on what to do next, so let me know what you guys want to see. Obviously, if I don't hear anything in particular or whatever, then I'm just going to be starting one up anyway in a couple days. But I always, I love your input. Drop me a line in the comments. Drop me a line on Twitter. Let me know what you want to see. Like the video if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.